Hello there. I am still in Hawaii, and I just want to show you this beautiful piece that I bought that resonates so well with the messages I'm sharing here. This is an eagle in the Hawaiian language, koro, and talks about how generations are contained in its circular fashion, and it's made out of the Hawaiian wood that is very valuable here. So I feel very good wearing it, especially with the message that I have to bring to you today. You may have heard of the phrase aging gracefully. I had a friend who said, I'm okay with the word aging as long as I do it gracefully. But sometimes we don't realize how this language reflects sort of cultural prescription for us. And what does this really mean if we look underneath this seemingly innocent term? Really, the more subtle message is aging is okay if we do it without disrupting things, if we do it sweetly and pleasantly, pleasing others. If we do it by managing our aging and paying lots of money for all the products that are available, and especially if we do it with a perspective from the outside in. So in this book, in this portion of my book, I'm moving towards inside, and we're leaving the fix-it mindset outside, and we're realizing that the self-care industry is a billion-dollar industry that has its designs on us and potentially the money that we might have earned through sacrifice, through such hard times throughout our lives. And I want to propose another path. So here is that section of the book. Let's see. Where do we begin? None of the women I know talk about their self-care activities as luxuries. They are in pain and doing what they can to get back to work or take care of their children or their parents. Just as our culture has accepted Descartes' adage, I think, therefore I am, our self-care extension is, I am broken and therefore I fix myself. Why? So that I can keep going, do more, be more productive. As psychotherapist and author Nancy Collier rightly insists, self-care in the way that we're doing it is actually solidifying our emotional exhaustion, the very thing it's claiming to heal. Further, we believe that our broken bodies and ruminating minds can only be fixed by someone else. Perhaps there is a cost. Perhaps this care is covered by insurance. If we are expecting someone else to conduct this repair, we are in the realm of self-care. Certainly, there is a time and place for the help of self-care professionals. When my shoulder was frozen, seeing a physical therapist was crucial at first. But when my pain and fatigue and anxiety and insomnia persisted, I had to admit nothing I was doing was working. At first, I thought that I just hadn't found the right self-care practices. I'd tell myself that somewhere there was just the right yoga teacher, the right neurokinetic practitioner who could home in on the source of that nerve pain, just the right supplements that would finally realign my out-of-whack hormones. Eager to get back in the saddle after a devastating headache or a bout of irritable bowel syndrome, I was always scanning the horizon for the next solution for stress. I knew, at least in the back of my mind, that these were all Band-Aids, but I had no idea what else might be available to me. Eventually, I came to realize that these self-care practices created self-imposed blinders that kept me from asking hard questions. What am I not saying no to? Where will the second half of my life take me? If I can't control what happens to me, what then? As I got older, these questions only became more urgent. Fighting aging. I am a boomer. Oh, how I hate that word, almost as much as I hate the word aging. But here we are, categorized as a demographic. I was born in 1951. Baby boomers like me, and possibly you, were born in the post-World War II era between 1946 and 1964. Most of us grew up witnessing the beginnings of the feminist era. We found jobs, but also suffered the gender pay gap. We grappled with the symptoms of menopause and with postmenopausal health issues in silence. Some of us are single or have lost partners. Often we are socially isolated. We struggle with decisions about downsizing and retirement. And if we are the Black descendants of slaves, we suffer the additional burden of an ongoing wealth gap and inadequate women's health support. We might be sandwiched between caring for our parents and our children, and we might have had to learn how to thrive in this vast and ever-changing digital world. We are on an unstoppable trek through a varied and treacherous landscape. The insult and injury we suffer from most, however, is this culture's view of aging. We cannot win this fight. For a while now, women have been strutting across my Instagram feed showing me how fashionable one can be as an older woman. Generally, these women, influencers, entrepreneurs, and fashion models, seem to be saying, I'm 75, but I still look fabulous. There are others with incredible good looks and bodies. Perhaps they have been fit all their lives, or perhaps they won the gene pool lottery. Inevitably, they make me feel less than. More recently, there has been a new string of popular Instagram reels, posts, and stories. Here, beautiful women who I can more easily identify with say, I'm 65 and I look my age. These women are protesting the invisibility they feel, and I appreciate their candor. But the focus is still from the outside in. It's all about how we look. And this perspective feeds into a self-care mindset. Make me look as good as I can, whatever my age, at whatever cost. We must find a different way to see ourselves. Susan Sands is a clinical psychologist who works with women on body-based disorders. In her book, The Inside Story, The Surprising Pleasures of Living in an Aging Body, she recognizes how the culture we live in asks us to triumph over our bodies. She catalogs the ways women over 50 have been subjected to cultural conditioning that encourages us to live in our heads and ignore our bodies. From a very young age, we are subjected to the male gaze. We see ourselves as the patriarchy sees us in this misogynistic and hypersexualized culture. We are asked to age beautifully or gracefully, which means we are permitted to age as long as we don't show it. Recalling Susan Sontag's 1972 essay, The Double Standard of Aging, Susan Sands recounts how, as women, we are identified with youth, and our aging bodies make us sexually ineligible. The male gaze focuses on our body's imperfections. Sands astutely explains, women then internalize this male derision of older women and end up full of self-hatred. Over my past 20 years of teaching embodied movement of various kinds, I have heard this self-hatred in women's comments about their bodies. My feet are horrible. I would love a tummy tuck. My body is useless. I have vivid memories of pulling on my tummy control pantyhose as I got ready for work. I told myself that my belly was too big, and no matter which diet or how much weight I lost, there it was. What I didn't realize until I began to engage with body-centered somatic practices was how these tight pantyhose were constricting my oxygen and my blood flow. Further, they created anxiety, sending me into fight or flight and severely diminishing my ability to think clearly. Sand's advice is to see our aging body as it is. rather than how we wish it was or how it used to be. She wants us to develop a better relationship with our actual older bodies. So that's the end of the portion from the book. And I just want to say how over the years, I used to, I taught classes, I gave privates, and women would kind of hear what I was saying and they would say, "Oh, could you give me a private?" Because when you're still in that mindset, that fix it, repair mindset, you think, "Oh, AnnMerle will just tell me about this new perspective in a 1 hour private, and then I'm good to go." And I would give these privates because I thought, "Oh, someone's inviting me to give them a private. I'd love to share what I'm learning." And then I would see that nothing changed. And so eventually I developed the FierceOver50 Gathering because I began to see in myself and in the women that I was teaching how this relationship with yourself as you are, with your body, your actual older body, as Susan Sands says, is not quick. How long, I like to say, did it take us to get here? I can't even count for how many decades I have been sitting. So the FierceOver50 Gathering respects and acknowledges and honors that this is a long-term process. It's a year-long program in which we start with the head, neck, shoulders, go to the core, go to the hips, legs, feet, and then a whole body series. So if you're interested in what it would look like to take a year to engage in transformation and evolve into the woman you are meant to be, just look at my website, FierceOver50.com, click on Work With Me, and get in touch if it interests you. Take care. Bye-bye.